Hi, everyone. So happy to be here. It's my first time in Seattle, so thank you for such a lovely welcome. And I would like to, first start with who am I and what the hell am I doing in Seattle? And so I'm a designer, a photographer, a researcher, a marketer, basically a small entrepreneur from Estonia. And one time at Bandcamp, no, I'm kidding. I saw this masterclass by Sarah Blakely, and then she was asking these questions that how do you know what you want to do? And she said, do something that makes you angry. And so I went to fashion. I've been studying and working in fashion for the past 14 years in multitudes of disciplines, like from tailoring to ready-to-wear, to sourcing, to accessories, and to photography. And currently I work mainly with dead stock denim, and I have my own small brand called Luks, which is my last name. And I actually love this because it's like a juxtaposition between sustainability being rather about secondhand clothing and upcycling than luxury. So what I do is post-consumer upcycling. This is a very elegant way of saying that I spend a reasonable amount of time going through my parents' basement and collecting all of the old jeans that they no longer use. And then telling myself that, oh, it has potential. So only 1% of the textiles are recycled back into clothing, and the majority of recycling is actually downcycling. So upcycling is what I'm doing, relies a lot on manual labor, not scalable infrastructure. So the process is tedious, time-consuming, takes a ridiculous amount of time, and it's never one particular technique. But it's also something that I believe helps us upcycling designers, because scarcity creates innovation and breeds imagination, and sometimes I find myself balancing like between waste and creating. And so this is a little bit about the process that I'm doing. So basically I take my dad's old jeans that have no potential in being recovered because they won't fit them, and trying to sell them at a secondhand market will be, all things considered, even more resourceful than just doing something else with them. So I take them apart completely and I separate them, and then suddenly this piece of garment becomes 10 different types of materials, like from metal to fiber or yarn. So all of this that you see here is actually the warp threads of jeans that I have then transformed into what I call a denim lace. And 1 square yard of this type of fabric takes me 6 hours to create, for instance. So that's to show how much time it goes into doing something like that. Or there can be spools of old Soviet time cotton yarn that is too fragile to be used in an industrial setting. So what I do, I break it apart, and you can't see here because it's not loading, but I created a fur, which is a coat. Or there are, this is called metal corset boning, that is put inside corsets to hold structure. And I worked with a factory that had about 200-300 boxes of those that were damaged in a fire, so they were deemed unusable. And I worked in collaboration with a blacksmith to create this wonderful metal belt. So this is to show that upcycling is about a lot of different materials rather than just fabric or fiber. And a lot of collaboration goes into a process like that. Like you should be open to having relationships with different disciplines, like I'm doing with a blacksmith, or then you do with a photographer, or then you do with a carpenter, for example. I'm running into some technical difficulties. This is supposed to be a photo of denim strips that I have ripped from white jeans and then created into this gorgeous fringe.
Do you want to fix that internet issue because your image is so beautiful?
I think the next one should be fine. I hope. There's going to be a lot of text. So anytime I work with upcycling or with a piece of material, I make two decisions every time. And one is that it has to be an existing material. I'm not going to go to the store and buy fabric. And second, it has to be noticed. Like, I don't care if it is wearable or if anybody actually wants to do it, it wants to wear it or be seen in it, it's fine, but nobody gets to walk past it. So all of my practices have led me to more questions. Like, what is the cost of that garment that 1 yard takes 6 hours to make? And how much does sustainability cost in general then? Like, do we have customers who are willing to pay the price for something like that? Would you buy it? Or should you buy it? Or should you even care? There is this thing in sustainability that's called now eco-fatigue, that people feel overwhelmed and skeptical or financially pressured or simply just tired of being told that, oh, you are buying something from Zara, how could you do this? Like, this is not sustainable at all. Like, you're killing a sea turtle somewhere. So people are naturally resistant to that. So I feel like we do need to make something with the pictures.
You have a non-cloud copy?
I think what's happening here is just it taking a little bit of time to load. It should be coming up. Okay, it's coming. Anyway, so that brings me to the actual topic of this this talk, which is I have a confession. I feel like I'm living in two different worlds or two different countries that happen to share a border, but they speak completely different languages. And I don't mean Estonia and United States, but this is where I'm from, which is a very small southern Estonian town with 13,000 people called Võru. And this is the place where I grew up, where my dad and his friends are sitting in a sauna anteroom and just ranting about the government and the youth and how nobody knows how to dress anymore. And, you know, they're not bad people. They're just like, they have a lot of opinions and just logic never stood in a way of having an opinion. And I mean, it's funny, but women have the same problem. So on the right is this other country or this world where I have been living in professionally for the past 13, 14 years, which I kindly, cutely call the land of sustainability and design, where I speak fluent upcycling. All the uniforms are secondhand and organic cotton. But the people there, we worry if our organic cotton is actually organic or if the vegan leather is actually vegan or how recycled is the recycled polyester. And what I have noticed is that everybody's a little angry and everybody's a little tired. And sometimes we tend to overcomplicate things. Like we can make buying a sock feel like a geopolitical decision. So this gap or this border I have noticed, and this led me to this problem where my hometown people, they have a different idea of the word sustainability. Like that in their world, this means like don't waste food, or keep that piece of wood because you might need it one day, or give baby clothes to someone like your neighbor, or repair that lawnmower until you cannot do anything else. So I'm not saying that these people are unsustainable, not at all, but they are very largely outside of the language of sustainable fashion. And here's the thing, those two worlds, even me and my dad, we do not talk about sustainability. Like, I cannot make him read a sustainability report. And honestly, sometimes I miss being ignorant like that. I miss my biggest problem being that, I don't know, I have nothing to add, but or I don't have a cheap store to go to, or I don't know. And with affection, but also some danger, I call that target group the average Joe, which is practical, opinionated, probably over 50, not interested in design theory. And I realized that our sustainability or design language is not meant for them, although they are the biggest group ever who influence younger people and their children who grow up with the mindset that they share. So yes, I'm a little jealous. And for quick context, like, why is this even important? Everybody gets dressed in the morning, and we all know, I believe people who have come to this design talk, we can all say that fashion is the most polluting industry in the world, and probably most of us can give a TED talk on the topic. But even me, having spent past 14 years in fashion, and if I see another guilt-driven sustainability ad, I too want to argue. Like, it's an automatic reaction. It's in psychology, they call it cognitive dissonance, right? But I feel like the problem with fashion is not that it has lack of information. There's a lot of it, but I think the problem is packaging mostly. And even with this Woolmark ad, it's a nice ad, but I want to immediately start arguing, like, oh, do you know how much methane a sheep makes? Or like, if you ever want to upcycle or recycle wool and then it goes into landfill, how much gas comes out emitted from that? And that's really not the point, I think. I feel like sustainability communication at this point has reached a dead end, and we need a little different tactic that people with all this Me Too movement and in this current political climate have been too afraid to go and do. And so I raise a question: what if the entry point isn't the guilt anymore, but what if it is desire? And maybe desire is something that can help us reach the average Joes. So I just graduated my master's in Estonian Academy of Arts, where my topic was, can sexiness be used as a visual strategy to promote sustainable fashion amongst people who are not interested in fashion? I'm sorry? And I'm very aware that I cannot make someone buy a recycled jacket just because a naked woman is sitting next to it. But what I can do, I can make them stop, look, and hopefully initiate a conversation. And advertising has spent more than a century becoming extremely good at understanding us. And these are the two key sayings in broadcasting, which we all know: sex sells, and if it bleeds, it leads. And in today's attention market, this is how you catch people's attention. I didn't want to invent a new tool, but I wanted to steal that one. So I designed a little experiment where I created an exhibition. I created an exhibition of images of my friends, and I did it to raise tension, to disturb the fantasy and bring attention to waste. So I will go through a few images. So this one, if you can see, this is my friend Valeria, who is lying on top of denim waste that I have personally spent years gathering in my small Estonian atelier. And it is to show that even me trying to be as upcycling, as a responsible, conscious designer, trying to minimize waste, even I create waste. And I decided that there is nothing more. I cannot make this into a smaller yarn. I could not make lace out of that. But what I could do is I could use it as a stage. So my other friend, Christina, who is my favorite go-to butt model, she is always so happy to go in front of the camera, put on something that I've made or my friends have made, and just so happy to be on the wall, trying to show what we are trying to do. This is my dear friend Anne, who is also another designer and been my personal model for the past 10 years. And she is the epitome of pose, gaze, style, and confidence. And she has been saying, she is something that to me is like, to be sexy is to be strong. And not everything upcycled is visibly upcycled. So for instance, the thing that my friend Kati here is wearing, it's a tube that is made from fibers that have been collected during the denim manufacturing process, then spun into a yarn and woven into this new denim knit. So I said before that I created an exhibition, and the exhibition was a place for me to show those images. And in research way, it is to say that I tested my theory in a lab, and that lab was my hometown of 13,000 people, and it is a gallery. But also it's important to note that it is not just a simple gallery where you go buy a ticket to see art. It is a cinema waiting room. It is the only cinema in my hometown. It is a waiting room where people can go and see. They don't have to buy a ticket. So their experience in seeing these photographs becomes really, truly voluntary. Because as I mentioned before, my dad and my mom and my uncles, or the 50-plus average Joes who live in those in my hometown, they are not interested in art in that way. So they would never go to a gallery to watch pictures. Maybe if the title says naked, sexy images, they might do it. But anyway, so it wasn't just about the pictures. I was trying to trick people into consuming information. I guess parents would know how hard it is to make your kid learn something. So you gotta have to, or if to get your kid to eat broccoli, so you have to like trick them in a way. So what I did is that amongst those pictures, I had printed out these transparent text on transparent background, these texts that I glued or stuck on the wall, which gave people information about fashion industry that I picked out from a report. But all in all, the aesthetic had to come first. So I had to make people look, and hopefully their eye would wander to the text, they would learn something, and they would keep on talking about this. So I want to deliberately stop for a second and say that this thesis that I made was not to prove that if somebody sees a sexy photograph on a Tuesday, that they're not going to Zara on Friday. Like, that was not my goal. But that exhibition had a QR code, which I now in hindsight realize that those people may not have been that savvy to use a QR code, but I gathered their feedback about the exhibit. So what I found out is that in a room where nobody chose to be looking at fashion, people still looked, including those 50 plus small town audience. And it is not nothing, because I guess we all know nowadays like how hard it is to grab or hold attention. And most people stayed longer than they anticipated on staying. They did read the text. They told me that they learned something new. And a lot of them also said that they will keep talking on the subject. But the image alone does not have the power to carry a message. Without the text panels in between those images, I think that people would have only just described the exhibition as interesting, sexy, but the word sustainability never would have crossed their mind. I also had a guest book. I got some nice comments, but I feel like most of them may have been just my family trying to make me feel better. But what I did find out, and what really made me dig deeper and gave me motivation to go on with this practice of mine, is that desire does get attention. And for that purpose, it was very good means. And I need to sit for something about a minute, because it is still quite a delicate topic. Because using a woman's body to sell an idea is never neutral. Feminist scholars have made arguments since the 70s. And even though fashion photography, however empowering the intention is, it does participate in a long history of reducing women to objects of visual consumption. And I know that critique very well. And I want to say that all of those friends or the models who were in those pictures, they chose to be there because they believe in my mission. And it was for a good cause. And I think we should be bolder and sometimes try to weigh whether the ends justify the means. And I believe in this case, they did. And in my next ventures, I was thinking, how can an exhibition format be extended so that people would spend more time amongst the images and be fed that information? How can I reach a wider audience than just the people in my hometown? And how could I control about who sees what I want them to see? So I thought of a calendar. And in history, we all know the Pirelli calendar, perhaps, or pin-up calendars, or beefcake calendars for women. And I thought that maybe it would be really cool to take something that Pirelli has done really tastefully and take sustainability and show the pictures high editorial photos about sustainability, send them as a corporate gift, and have them hang on a wall where people can, for a whole month, can see an image, and then their eye wanders to the text where they're fed this information that they keep talking about. And then those kids who are running around and hearing their dads and moms talk about how the government sucks and everything is too bad, and then they will maybe hear about conscious consumption. So all in all, back to where we started, who should care, and does the end justify the means? And I am not telling you that desire is the only way to talk about sustainability or even the best way. It is just something that I tried and I still have a lot of faith in. And I was thinking of academics, actually. How important is the work that scientists are doing? And they are creating these reports, but they're all meant for other scientists. But other people should also learn and be aware of important issues. So sometimes, or not sometimes, I think it's very important to think of packaging. I think UN did this project where, together with the Parsons Textile Lab, where they created they had the statistic, and they gathered all the students to show that statistic in a nice, colorful way, so that other people, ordinary people, would also know. So, did I prove that sexiness can save sustainable fashion? No, thankfully, because that would be a lot of responsibility on just 13 photos. But I did uncover or prove that desire can interrupt indifference. And a powerful visual can make somebody stop before they know what they're being asked to think about. So desire is useful because it opens contact, and not because it changes, or not because it guarantees persuasion or behavior change. And need to remember that provocation without substance is just provocation. So yeah, I think sustainable design does not always need to begin with telling people what they have done wrong, but start with beauty and desire. Thank you.